What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with career mode, episode number 20. It's kind of cool now that the episodes kind of line up with the round number now, given that we did 2 races in one episode in the last one, so if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. But meanwhile, we have some interesting developments throughout the field. Ferrari now shoot to be the best car. Mercedes also improving their car as well, but not by enough to maintain the lead of the development race. But the midfield is also closing up as well. I can't really afford to be too passive with my upgrades. You know, arguably I could have been a bit better with the upgrade path that I've taken, but I have gone in the way of reliability and making sure that the car is a bit more of a more rounded package heading into Season 2. So by that reckoning, we'll be fine, but we're taking a little bit of pain right now, and when I say we, I mean myself, because at the moment I am struggling to be competitive in qualifying. The races, not so much, but yeah, just that raw speed. And because everyone's so close in the field, I find it's a bit hard to be up there. But practice 2, you can see we were up there, so I don't know why I have any cause to complain. So hopefully that can mean we have a good qualifying pace, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. The AI seem to always get quite fast into qualifying, and I find marginal kind of improvements, but I'm going to remain positive. I've got a good setup on this weekend, and I feel fairly confident, so we should be in for a good round here in Brazil. Engine components are still pretty fresh, given that we took extra parts. The AI might be struggling with their engines. They might have to take grid penalties. Who knows? It's all up in the air for this Brazilian Grand Prix. So let's get qualifying underway and see where we can get this car.
Welcome to qualifying here in InterLAGos as the cars are readying up for what's likely to be a very important session.
Before we get going with qualifying, if you haven't already, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And you guys can keep up to date with all my F1 2019 career mode videos. If you're new to my channel, I don't know why you'd be discovering my channel on episode 20 of the career mode, but I mean, people have got to start somewhere. You're running quite late. You've got 19 episodes to catch up on, so perhaps it's time to binge. But anyway, it's actually quite mad to see how far we've come in such a short amount of time with the career mode. I really do want to do myself justice this year and make sure I can get 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many seasons deep into this career mode. I've seen on Twitter that it's going to get absolutely crazy development-wise for Season 2. So I'm kind of worried that I'm not putting myself in a good position to fend off the midfield heading into Season 2, but that's going to be part of the joy, isn't it? But anyway, qualifying. Pace was a bit so-so. I put in a banker lap, and I think it was a decent time. I went to go do an extra lap on that set of tires. I did a cool down lap in between, but the time on the 3rd lap just wasn't good enough. I made a mistake. The double right-hander, as you saw there with all the replays, and thankfully our banker time that we did put in was good enough to get us out of Q1. So finally we have a package, or at least I have a package on my side of the garage that can compete with the midfield runners. At least there's still a lot to be said about trying to make movements on the top guys in F1, but we'll see what we can do. I need to continue to find pace and confidence, I suppose.
Engine fired, we're set.
But yeah, here we go. Heading out now for our final run in Q2. I did one run at the start of the session, and now we're doing another one. I'm leaving it right till the death here, just so I can make sure I get the best of the track conditions. I can minimize the amount of tire wear sustained by doing the outlap myself and making sure I heat up the tires and utilize the battery properly. 20 seconds left to go in the session. This will be our one and only time lap at the end of this run, and let's see if we can break inside the top 10. My strategy here was to follow Vettel as closely as what I could throughout this flying lap, but you can see it's kind of in that awkward distance where I'm probably still getting dirty air, but I'm not really getting much in terms of a slipstream off of Vettel. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's working out too well at the moment. I was hoping that Vettel was going to get held up behind the Williams and that he would back him up into me, and then I'd be able to get slipstream off of Vettel. But that did not happen at all. You can see we're marginally going to improve on our previous best as we come across the line. We're losing Delta. We're losing Delta on the run up to the line, so we didn't actually improve in the end there. So by some weird reason, we have not improved our time. Is that weird? Was our engine overheating? Was it losing horsepower? We got a nice exit, and we were holding ground against our Delta. But as we got up through the gears, we were losing time. I don't know. That's so weird. I have noticed that a couple of times. The more runs I do in a qualifying session, the worse the engine performance gets. Yeah, I don't know. Engine overheating, or is it just natural wear that's making the engine not as strong as what it used to be? I don't know. It could be either or. We're heading into the race. We have some rain. So, again, we might potentially be saved by the conditions. We're going to be the mega pacey boy in changeable conditions. We're starting down the order, and the AI do have many grid penalties. Let's get it.
As surely as the sun rises in the morning, the Brazilian Grand Prix packs out the grandstands and creates incredible drama. Title deciders, heartbreak, triumph and home glory. All these and more can be found in abundance here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Weber, George Russell and Kubica, Butler, Vettel, Day and Lance Stroll. Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty. Ricciardo, Lando Norris and Albon. Raikkonen, Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi and Daniel Kvyat. Sainz and Sergio Perez completes our grid.
Okay, so a lot of people with grid penalties. Qualifying P13, we move up 4 spots. Ricciardo, again with grid penalties, I believe, so he'll be starting behind me. So not good management from the team in terms of, you know, spreading out the power unit components. I tend to take mine all in one bunch.
The rain is a few laps out yet, but it is coming. Be careful.
Oh, rain is coming. Yeah, the AI tend to take theirs like one at a time and spread out their grid penalties over many races, but I just take it all in one go, and I can get on with my championship campaign. But here we go. Ready for the start of this race. Rain is coming. How soon will it get here? 5 red lights and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It was a great launch, great reaction. But as always, the wheel spin, the second and third gear drive that we get off of the line is just atrocious up against the AI. Puts us up on the back foot every time, which is very deflating. But anyway, let's see if we can get off on a more positive note as we now settle into this Grand Prix, 4 corners in, and it's only 1 place lost, so not the end of the world. We've got our teammate directly behind us on soft compound tyres. The rain is scheduled to fall in the, second quadrant of the race, so that could be 5 minutes away, could be 10 minutes away, it could be literally right now, but sometimes I have noticed that the AI, not the AI, oh my god, Ricciardo around the outside, nice move. Verstappen looking for a little bit of a go as well. The quadrant, groupings of the weather can often be very inaccurate. Like, you can sometimes say it's going to rain at the end of the race, but it's raining from the start, and vice versa. So, yeah, we're going to take this with a pinch of salt. So I have gone for the medium tyres, just in case the rain doesn't come straight away. So we're leaving ourselves options for later on in the race if it does remain dry. But anyway, here is Verstappen looking for an avenue up the inside. I really wasn't kind of paying attention there. I just kind of moved over. That was like my racing line, I suppose. And he lifted off and backed out of it, essentially. So it's still, P11 dropped a spot off the start, and then Ricciardo got a nice run on us, and now we're just looking to stay with him. I don't think we're slow by any means. I think we just got picked off on a lap where we didn't have a great lap, to be honest. So the aim is to hopefully fight back, maybe follow my teammate through. Ricciardo isn't really doing anything here. He's just kind of sitting in behind, not really forcing anything, to be honest, which is a little bit disappointing. Our tyres are starting to get stronger. The rain is now hitting. The rain is now here. So we know that it's coming in the first stint now, and that just energizes me to get on with things a little bit more. We're going to switch to intermediate tyres just in case we need to make a late call to dive it in. But now that the rain is coming, we know it's coming like pretty soon. We need to get on with things. We need to get in front of our teammates so that we have preferential treatment between the two of us when it comes to getting our pit stop. So I don't want to get held up behind Ricardo. I want to switch on to intermediate tires as soon as it's viably possible. Ricardo a bit slow out of the hairpin, and we just get amazing traction. And we find ourselves back in P10. Okay, so it looks like it's at the stage now, a wetness where the AI are lacking a bit of confidence under their right foot. We're pushing as hard as we possibly can. We're getting a bit wheel spinny there out of the final corner. So now it is mega push time. As we can see, we're going around the outside of Robert Kubica here. Probably a little bit too ambitious here into turn one. Nearly spun out, essentially, so that wasn't great. We've cut the corner, so that's our first warning of 3 in this Grand Prix. 3 warnings, and you get a penalty. So let's minimize that if we can. Kubica absolutely storming away on the straights. That is quite mental to see how much momentum or how much straight line speed that Williams has. It's crazy. I haven't seen anything like that since like Sauber last season, my former team that I was with. But anyway, amazing exit out of the final corner. I say amazing. It's a pretty good exit. The AI at this stage are really starting to back off and struggling in these conditions with their used soft compound tires. But it's time for Inters are diving it in. And this is the part of the race where it gets really exciting for us. In and out, and go, move. Kimmy, what are you doing? Just go, 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 go. Follow the advice of the Project Cars engineer and go, go, go. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this.
Hey! Hey! Come on! Move!
It is absolute mayhem in the pit lane. Just like it was in the last race in the US Grand Prix. We avoided all of the carnage, but this time we find ourselves right in the thick of it. I think we might... I can't speak.
Some information on Norris. They have some kind of mechanical problem. We're trailing our teammate by 25.9 seconds. They're on old softs. They're in first.
Oh, you have no idea how frustrating that is to be sat in the box and you are spamming your gearbox until it literally explodes. But, yeah, I was checking with my teammate to see where he was on the circuit. Thankfully, he stayed out and he's doing the Tiametmarduk strategy of USA, and he's going to have a clear run into the pit lane, but looks like he was already getting attacked by a Ferrari halfway round the lap. That's, yeah, okay, so the top teams definitely managed to get out of the pit lane cleaner this time. Speaking of clean, that is far from it from Kubica there, so I really appreciate that, pal. Around the outside of the Lando Norris mobile, and we find ourselves in the points now. So I think for the leaders here, it was very fortuitous for them that the rain kind of hit 5-6 laps or longer into the Grand Prix. They were able to establish enough of a gap for them to make their stop and then get out into the fast lane before the huge stampede of the midfield runners was able to come in. But we were in that stampede and we well and truly got trampled on, unfortunately. Around the outside of Danny Rick, unfortunately he didn't really make as much of a gain as what I thought he would in the pit stop phases, and now we find ourselves going hammer and tong in the run into turn one. Around the outside, Albon getting in the mix and in the way, so I really appreciate that. Side by side here at Renault, it is civil war. It is mayhem. We are through. Okay, I had to concentrate there. I had to figure out what was going on. It was, yeah, lots was happening in such a short amount of time. I just kind of needed to gather myself just to really figure out what was happening. But now we are in a good rhythm now. We've cleared some of the slower cars. We are on the intermediate tyres, and we have established that the pace is strong, as I thought it would be. There's meant to be heavy rain as well in this race, but it may be just as brief as what it was in Coda. So hopefully we can find some kind of advantage out of that as we dance around the outside of Lucas. And I think we're essentially best of the rest now in terms of the midfield runners. So it's been an amazing fight back ever since putting on the intermediate tyres. We lost a dozen positions, and we've claimed them all back in such a short amount of time. Half race distance now.
We should see a transition to light rain in around 10 minutes time. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
So according to Jeff, he understands that it's technically heavy rain right now, so I don't think anyone's going to be going on full wet tyres by that reckoning. If it's already going lighter, I couldn't even really feel a difference, to be honest. That's the tricky thing, is sometimes I don't fully know when to switch to wets, because yeah, it's very easy to go from dry to inters, but inters to wets, it's like, at what point do you know that it's right for a different compound change? That is still, after 10 years of playing the F1 games, is still a little bit difficult to deal with, apart from the obvious of feeling that you have less grip. But anyway, we're finding a way. We got past Devon Butler. We now saw past George Russell, who got P1 in practice 1 this weekend. So Williams continuing to find momentum in the way of upgrades. They're surely not going to be spending money on consolidating their upgrades for next season. It'll be interesting to see how much they plummet by next season, with the way of the performance patch, if it ever comes out from Codemasters, and of course, yeah, if they've been neglecting the engine side of securing those upgrades for next season. Hamilton getting a bit wayward through the middle sector. You don't really see this too much from the AI. It was a tiny little wiggle, but still, it was a wiggle nonetheless. The AI are normally as stable as a fridge sitting on a flat piece of concrete. Yep. So to see a slide from the AI is very, very odd. We're now attacking a Mercedes. Here we go, around the outside. No, we're going to dive to the inside for turn 1. Huge lock up into turn 1, unfortunately. But it looks like we might hold on to the position. Hamilton being very passive here. Again, another warning for mounting the curb in a really awkward scenario. Here's the replay. To the inside on Hamilton. That was a very weird angle that I approached turn 1 from. I want to see from Hamilton's on board what that actually looked like, because I really invaded his personal space there. Here it is, the money shot. And Hamilton's moving out of the way, and I still come at him like a torpedo. Oh my god. That is disgusting. I cannot... Wow. Hamilton, fair play for avoiding that, but for just being so cooperative. Wow. Fair play.
2 laps until the pit window. You'll be on inters for the next stint.
I always feel like I should give him the position back, but no, I'm not going to do that. We need to capitalize on these rare occasions where it does rain, and we're going to make hay while the sun shines.
Looks like the weather is going to dry up in about 5 minutes. The heavy rain is passing. We're seeing light rain about 2 minutes away. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
So, okay, let's get serious now, because we're getting to the business end of this race. The AI diving in for another set of intermediate tyres. It already has changed back to light rain, but it's supposed to be getting drier as well very, very soon. And I'm just weighing up in my mind whether we should stay out and stretch it until it goes dry, because then we might see ourselves contending for the podium. The thing is, the tyre wear is a bit odd at the moment.
We anticipate an end to this rain in around 5 minutes. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is all that's left of rain, and then we're going to dry tyres. So we can easily make 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, given that the track will probably take a lap or 2, or maybe longer to fully dry out for dry tyres. So we're going to stretch it out here. We've taken the lead of the Grand Prix now.
Okay, I think the track will be drying out quite soon. Mind you don't burn out your tyres.
Thanks, Jeff, for the reminder. We'll try and look after the tyres if we can. I think it's mainly like temperature-wise that we need to worry about. The tyres are getting on now, 72% on the right rear. But we've done the majority of this race already on this set of intermediate tyres, and they have worn to 74%. So we can hold it out another 5 minutes. That should be fine. It's just a case of whether Leclerc will catch us before it goes fully dry. That's kind of what I'm worried about at this stage. We're now starting to lap midfield runners, which is crazy. We've been that fast, and we've managed to make the most of the strategy and the midfield runners making extra stops. Lewis Hamilton is out of the race, so that makes my job of getting a podium today that much easier. One less front-running car to contend with. And he's out of the Grand Prix, no safety car again. I need to check whether I have safety car turned on at this point because I have some serious doubts. So I will make sure that it's on for the finale in Abu Dhabi next race. But lap 28, we've got 8 laps to go in this race. We're getting to a point where if it doesn't dry out soon, we will be finishing this race on intermediate tyres. The engineer is giving me suggestions to dive in for intermediate tyres every single time we get to the middle sector of the race. He can't make his intentions any more clear, but we're going for it. We're committed to the dry compound strategy now, but the track is just taking an absolute age to dry up.
Radar is clear. Weather is looking good for now. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
When is it going to dry up? Rain has stopped. It stopped a good few minutes ago, but the track is, yeah, like I said, taking forever to dry up. Normally, with 19 F1 cars circulating around the circuit, a dry line really doesn't take that long to form, but today it just seems like it's taking an absolute age to clear up, which is making me very nervous at this stage. I was thinking this was easy win, easy slaps, see you later, collect the 25 points and move on to Abu Dhabi, but it's getting very dire now. 90% on the right rear tyre. We are well and truly in puncture territory. Normally from previous games, it normally kicks in from 75 or 77% onwards. We're in the 90s. And sometimes, given my luck in the past in league racing, you're lucky to even make it to the 90s before the tyres go pop. Team radio.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Is this the strategy? No, still intermediate tyres. What's going on with this track? Why won't it dry up? Literally, like lap 23 or 24, I was told specifically by the team that the track would dry in 5 minutes. Fast forward 10 laps and we are still here on the intermediate tyres. 95% on the right rear tyre. It is win or bust at this stage. It really needs to dry out, like literally now. You can see there is a dry line appearing, but we're not ready. We are not ready for dry tyres just yet, and Leclerc is right there. So this is the battle for the lead of the race. He's going to overtake me here. It's going to be inevitable. So unfortunately, this will not be a surprise victory for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Now I'm really getting worried. This is life or death scenario now. I'm fearing that we may not make it here. 98% on the right rear. I think regardless, we need to pit in this lap. And probably dive onto dry tyre. Just go for it because our tyres will puncture. I'm surprised that they haven't gone. Just 99% on the right rear, and those tyres have no tread on them left. They are absolutely donezo in this race. Bottas putting the pressure on. He's right behind. I checked the replay, and the tyre is gone. The left rear has popped. I checked the menus. I was looking at replays to get that screen up on for this video. I come back and the tyre has gone. Can we get F's in chat? We've got 2 punctures.
The rear left tyre has a puncture.
We have 2 punctures now. It is beyond control now. That's just the race has spiraled out of our control. Literally, we are donezo in this race. Just we turned in for the corner, and I think like literally the carcass or something fell off the tread of the tire. I heard a noise in the back right when we spun there. That was quite odd. But now we're limping it back to the pit lane now. It's very important not to rush this, to make sure that you don't spin out. And what have we done? That one just snapped on me. I look at my throttle traces. You can rewind the video and see just how little throttle I was putting in over the course of the recovery back to the pit lane. And we still lost the car. But somehow we still got our front wing. We've had 2 major spins and we are still going. What a lap this has been in the Brazilian Grand Prix. I've done many career mode races, many league races around here, but none quite like this. This is quite the fall from grace, it seems. Absolute 0 in this Brazilian Grand Prix. We were in a position in the championship where points really didn't matter to us. We were going for the glory. I wanted the race win. I thought it was a certainty that the track was going to dry up in time, but it took abnormally long to get to the point where we are now, where we can kind of make these dry tires work. So, hindsight is a beautiful thing, but still, with all the evidence in front of me, knowing that the track was going to dry when it was, according to the team, I would still not do anything differently. But yeah, what can I say? We're in P10. Track is dry now, at least fairly dry. I think DRS is going to get enabled on this lap, I would say, but it's the penultimate lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. We've got Alexander Albon putting the pressure on to take the point away from me. Thankfully, DRS is enabled once again, so it is more suited to the dry conditions. Raikkonen, the next car ahead, who blocked us in the pit lane earlier on in the race, if you remember, is sitting comfortably in P9, a good 5 or 6 seconds up the road. Unfortunately, the gap was too large, and wasn't really getting a huge amount of gain on this last lap, unfortunately, versus the AI runners. Not at least to get another position, unfortunately, so it's going to be P10 in this race. What a weird one. What a weird one, that's all I can say. P10, 1 point. What a race.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
My head's in my hands. I literally want to cry. Oh. Yeah, I really thought we were going to win that one. I really did. I thought it was a no-brainer. Simple. We had that race in the bag, somewhat. But yeah, Mother Nature, if anything, just wasn't on our side. It really just stayed so damp for so long. But there we go. That is the Brazilian Grand Prix. Like I said, I could have stopped around a similar time when the AI did and gone for a comfortable podium. But I wanted the win. I don't think you can fault me for trying to go for the win when we're in a car that isn't contending for the championship. Going for the glory. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a low percentage play. It didn't pay off. So we'll move on. We'll learn. We now understand how far we can push the tires. Yeah, the tires, the intermediates that we did literally most of the race on. That was amazing. That we took them so far in the race. You know, when I was driving, I really didn't think about how long I had the tires on for. I just felt like I had them on for half the race or something like that. So I felt like a relatively normal amount of time. But now looking back at it, I really should have got off those tires. But you live and you learn. This is why we go through the first season. We learn the ins and outs, and we learn from our mistakes, and we make sure that we don't repeat those mistakes when we're in a position that's of much more importance, when we're going for a championship, for example. But there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. We're off to Abu Dhabi next, the finale of Season 1. We're going to go for some upgrades. We have the weight redistribution upgrade, which is a guaranteed pass if we put it on. But the thing is, if we actually go for that upgrade, we can't go for a normal upgrade otherwise. So I think I'm going to chance it. I'm going to go for a rear downforce upgrade. And hopefully that passes and goes on the car. And then we can do the weight redistribution at another time when we have less resource points and it doesn't matter so much. Yeah, you can never have too much rear downforce, I'm now discovering. It will certainly help with making the rear end more stable. Hey, might have helped us today in stretching out the tires a bit longer, holding out the rear tires. But, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. What a Grand Prix. You can always count on Brazil to throw up some amazing races through the weather. But that's it from me today. Until the next race, not the Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's forget about this one as soon as we possibly can and move on to Abu Dhabi, the season finale. Are we going to change teams? Probably not, but the AI certainly are, and I'm looking forward to the driver moves that take place heading into Season 2 and all the car performance changes that will happen as well. But until then, I'll see you next time.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.